Hey friends, so day 36 of COVID, and it is currently 4:18 p.m. Central Time, and I don't know exactly what day or time I'll post this because sometimes things go a little crazy, and I'm just having to kind of go with the flow. It gets late in the day before I can post an update or share things with you. I can tell I've kind of lost my voice a little bit, and the reason for that is because every morning it's like 51st dates, but except it's 51st flus. So every morning I go through this same cycle of symptoms, and this morning was kind of rough with the cough and other things, and so I just am having like I've lost my voice a little bit. Anyway, so today is day 36, and I kind of wanted to try to answer all of the questions in one place real quick because a lot of people have offered a lot of great advice and asked a lot of really smart questions and things like that. So I wanted to just kind of go over everything in one place because it's hard for me to get back to and answer everything on limited brain time. um, and also, so you can know what to expect. And all of a sudden, I'm getting emotional, which is weird. But also, so you can know what to expect, what it's like having COVID-19 right now, how hard it is to get help, how smart it would be to avoid getting it, during the holidays when things are closed, and during the winter season, during flu season, during an outbreak, in your area, et cetera, because that's exactly where I found myself. Um, and look, there's so much stigma surrounding it, but I just want to talk about it openly and talk about awareness and talk about like practical stuff. Um, and I also I want to say thank you so much for your ideas, your suggestions, etc. Here's what's actually going on though. Yes, I have followed up with the cardiologist. This is a comprehensive heart failure office at St. Thomas, and this was what was recommended to me when I went to the emergency room, that I follow up and see the cardiologist. So I called them. She's questioning, why was I even referred there? She thought that didn't seem right. She looked at my record. She found no notes on why I was referred to their office. She was confused. She had to call me back. So this is following a whole horrible experience at the ER, by the way. So it doesn't surprise me that she didn't find any notes and wasn't sure, what the situation was. I was very treated dismissive by the doctors at ER. They called me, or he called me by the wrong name, came in to give me the wrong test results. There's inaccurate information on my discharge papers. I could go on and on and on, but I went to the ER because of a cardiac event. So the cardiologist did agree to make an appointment for me, or the nurse agreed to make an appointment for me with the cardiologist. I'm starting to stutter and struggle again, so bear with me. And to the last person who said stop repeating yourself, COVID has turned my nervous system or against me, or I'm having some neurological problems or cognitive functions are all messed up. So just bear with me. It's really hard for someone who's used to being focused and on their game, to be stumbling through such a basic conversation. So a little grace and compassion would be cool. So anyway, so she agreed to make an appointment with me, or for me, with the cardiologist when she called me back. But then she canceled that because I coughed on the phone. She said they're not seeing any patients in office that are presenting symptoms, which makes sense. And this is going to be the case with most places, even my doctor's office. No one is seeing anyone that's presenting symptoms in office. So they have to separate the well patients from the COVID patients in order to protect the well patients, which is smart. I get that. Also, they won't do the initial consultation, which is all it is for the first appointment, is like an intake. They won't do it virtually. So she told me to call my PCP, which is my primary care provider, my doctor, which I have done. My PCP told me to go to the ER, which I did. ER told me to follow up and see the cardiologist, and the cardiologist told me to call my PCP. So following my visit to ER, my PCP simply said, look, stay home, drink plenty of liquids, take vitamin C, follow up with the cardiologist. It's an endless loop, like a constant pass off. The cardiologist, by the way, that they referred me to is 80 miles away. It's a 3-hour round trip. I don't think that I can drive safely in my condition. So I have a lot of details to try to figure out. And when I say that, it's because right now I feel kind of okay, but I'm kind of stuttering and stumbling when I talk. When I get in the car, like I had to go pick up a prescription earlier, I can't process fast enough if the lights are green or red or what color they are. Like I feel like this must be what it's like to do drunk driving, because I can't I have some kind of cognitive disconnect and things just don't process that fast. And all I can think about is babies in car seats, like I don't want to get out on the road and hurt someone else in my condition. I've also lost time. 3 different times I have found myself hours later doing something else and not have any idea what happened the hours in between. That's not a good time to be on the road or good condition. Also, if I have a cardiac event, driving is probably not smart while that's going on or anything like that. So first, I have to not have any symptoms, and I've had symptoms for 36 straight days. There have only been 3 days randomly spread out, not the last 3 days, but randomly spread out over 36 days. There have been 3 days where I felt okay. I was a little flushed, but I didn't have all the normal symptoms with this. And so I have to have no symptoms in order to go to the doctor. And then I would have to figure out how to get there, especially if they send me to the specialist in Nashville or whatever the case, and assume that it's safe for somebody to drive me, meaning I'm not contagious. But as I said in my last video, as long as I'm presenting symptoms, I mean, would you want to be in the car with me right now? No. I'm still coughing. So obviously I'm concerned about I'm going to have a stroke or a blood clot or a heart attack or some, major event before the symptoms ever do end. I don't feel panicked about it. I don't feel anxious. The weird thing is I've had anxiety all of my life. And I have medication for it if I need it. But the weird thing is I feel oddly calm about the whole thing. Which in itself must be part of the cognitive problem or the neurological issues or something, because I haven't had my usual anxiety and things like that. But I am concerned, like the other night, it was night before last, I was just folding clothes. I wasn't doing anything strenuous. I wasn't, doing anything crazy. I was just folding clothes, and out of the blue, I felt, my chest was pounding, my left arm was throbbing, my heart rate, I checked it, was up to 150 beats per minute. And I thought I just need to sit down and do a breathing exercise and get this to pass. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I broke out in a very wet sweat, which I remembered as one of the signs on the cardiologist's website. And what the ER nurse told me was, this is an emergency. This is heart failure, so you will feel, but I didn't feel the impending doom. Apparently, so there's some, the symptoms are, pain and pressure in your chest and the heart pounding and the heart rate elevated and sweating, and you feel this impending doom. But I am pretty sure my impending doom meter is broken. I'm a lot of times I go to bed fully dressed because I don't know if I'm going to make it through the night, and I don't even feel stressed about that, and I should. So I don't feel the normal stress or anxiety. So it concerned me. I sat down. I was able to breathe it out. I just gave up and just went to bed, especially after my last ER visit. But the last time that happened, my heart rate was 173 beats per minute. The other time it was 164 beats per minute. That's when I went to the ER, emergency room, and was told I was fine. I was told my EKG was normal. I was told to follow up with a cardiologist. So at this point, I feel like I need a more accurate test. I feel like I need an antigen test. I need an antibody test. I need a COVID test. I need them to do a blood test, tissue sample, whatever they have to do. I first need to determine if I am sick or contagious or not, or where I'm at in that spectrum. Where am I in that, so that I can get help, so that I can go into a doctor's office or get a ride to Nashville or, whatever it takes. Of course, they won't. It's not going to do me any good if you say, hey, I'd be happy to give you a ride because I have COVID too, because they won't see me because I'm coughing. So all of this is just so maddening, right? Because it's this endless loop of, no. So I had 3 COVID tests in the first 2 weeks of symptoms. All 3 of those COVID tests came back negative. I've repeated this several times, but a lot of people keep asking, so bear with me. All 3 of my COVID tests in the first 2 weeks came back negative, but they do have a 20 to 40% false negative rate. And there was inaccurate information on my 3rd test, including the date of my swab and all kinds of other stuff. I'm not even honestly sure if that was my test. This is just what I'm dealing with here. And I'm sure that's what we're all dealing with, because there's so many people needing to get tested in order to get a pass to go back to work or this or that, or needing to get tested because they feel like they might have been exposed. And so we're in a situation here where this is just not the time to be in the middle of it. I'm just saying. A lot of, human error can happen in the best of circumstances, and these are not the best of circumstances. So my doctor has me diagnosed COVID, and this is based on symptoms, based on timeline, and after ruling out everything else that possibly could be through tests, yes, and everything. I also have found thousands of other people having the exact same symptoms as me. Some tested positive, some negative, but were exposed, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just kind of the obvious thing at this point. I don't know or think that I still have COVID. I also mentioned that in my last video, or I should say, I don't necessarily think I'm still contagious or still have the virus in my body. It's more like I'm having, that it's kicked off an immune response or turned my immune system against me. So a pounding heart is one of those things. If you have a virus in your body, your heart will pound harder to send more blood to your extremities, to like circulate more oxygen. Like it's a fighting response, your body's fighting response. So as far as trying to get some kind of testing in terms of where am I at in this process, my doctor is not doing antibody tests or antigen tests. The COVID clinic here is not doing antibody tests or antigen tests. The health department is not doing antigen tests or antibody tests. The Kroger pharmacy is doing the rapid test for antibodies, when the rapid test is a lot less sensitive, a lot less accurate, but they're out of stock. I can't donate blood or plasma. I tried both of those because then you would get tested. And you have to be symptom-free for 2 weeks in order to come in and get tested, which makes sense. We don't want to be spreading this around or coughing on other people. So I have tried everything. This is day 36. I was on the phone off and on for 4 hours this morning alone, just today of all these days. I'm currently waiting for the ER supervisor to call me back. I'm waiting for my doctor's nurse to call me back. I spoke with a nurse in the ER earlier today because the cardiologist seemed very confused about why they wanted me to come there and why ER didn't just give me the Holter monitoring, but ER says we don't do that. So all of these offices, all of these doctors, the hospital, they are all under the same umbrella, all under St. Thomas. So they're all connected. They all have my medical records, but the disconnect is huge, and the mixed messaging is crazy, and I'm just stuck in this loop of each one passing me off to the next person, and it keeps going around in this circle with them. So here I sit, day 36, no answers, no solutions, no way to be seen anywhere, and at this point, nobody's calling me back. And yes, I called urgent care. You're going to call everywhere at some point, right? They never returned my calls. So I'm like, so much for urgent, right? I also tried to hire another local doctor, a doctor that I had before this system, and they're very close to me. I feel like I could drive safely over there on a back road and not be in major traffic. Anyway, she said I made some notes over here. It's just what I'm looking at. I didn't want to forget any of your questions, so. She is. So I asked, are you seeing COVID patients? And she said she is. And I mentioned I had been a patient before, and what my problems were. And she said, you need to see your PCP or go to the ER. And I said, well, I have seen my PCP, or I have talked to her on the phone, but I would like to hire you to be my PCP. But she said, no, she said, you will have to see your current doctor and go to the emergency room. So I've tried even hiring a new doctor. I just want you to know, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for the support and the encouragement, the ideas, the suggestions, the questions that have led me to research other things and stuff. I am doing everything that I can, but honestly, I'm not even up for all of this. I mean, come on, it's exhausting, and I'm already exhausted. I am pushing through the absolute best that I can. It was, like I said, 4 hours this morning, off and on, back and forth, on the phone with different doctors and different resources, trying to get anything and everything done that I can. But my advice to you is don't get COVID right now. And I mean, don't take the risks. The timing is so wrong, until they get it figured out, until they get some kind of system in place, until they get better testing, et cetera. If you already have, or if you do, I want to just wish you a mild case with absolutely no complications and a super fast recovery. No neurological or nervous system problems, no cardiac issues, etc. Or I wish you a better doctor and a better healthcare system. Just as a quick rundown, so far my COVID symptoms have included, and I had to write these down because I won't remember them all, no infection, no fever. So I've never had a lower respiratory infection or lung problems or breathing problems. So this has been a very mild case for me. Had dry cough is where it started. I just had a dry cough late one night, and I was like, well, that makes everybody paranoid. And then it went away. And then after that, it was runny nose, sore throat, sneezing. I had a productive cough, like the one you've heard me, like coughing during this. Stuffy head, like really stuffy. Then I'll get pressure and pain in my ears, but never any fever or anything like that. Body aches. Piercing headache with diarrhea, that always goes together. So when I get the piercing headache, that's different than the pounding headache. The piercing headache, I know it's like, stop whatever you're doing. Those go together. The pounding headache is different. Ears ringing, they're ringing now actually. Vision impairment, like one of the things is like when you come in from a bright outdoors, like in the sunlight, and you come into a dark room, how your eyes adjust? Sometimes I feel like mine are stuck in that space between, like my eyes are trying to adjust and I can't make out colors, and things like that. I've had blurry vision. I've had different types of vision impairment. The hard shakes, which is a neurological problem or nervous system problem, it does not come with chills and fever, like when you're shaking, when you're chilled or feverish. It's just like Parkinson's shakes. Very flush. Like sometimes I'm bright pink, which I'm like, woo, look, my lips get all puffy and red. Like I get really flush, and but no fever with that. Confusion, stuttering, lost time, sometimes hours. A very strange, like cognitive disconnect. Like I can't figure out what I'm doing, or if I'm really doing what I think I'm doing, or can't say the words that I'm thinking, and something else comes out of my mouth, which is really weird. A pounding heart, elevated heart rate. Some days I am extremely tired and go like every few hours I'll be okay, but then every 2 or 3 hours I like have to crawl back in bed. Like it's just debilitating. Other days I feel fine. So the upper respiratory part of it, all those cold symptoms I mentioned have been very mild compared to the last flu that I had. The last flu that I had was almost 2 years ago. And this was, it's miserable, but tolerable. Like even in the first 2 weeks when the symptoms were the most intense, only 2 nights did I take half a dose of NyQuil, and only 3 times did I take pain reliever for like the pounding headaches and the body aches, and just half a dose. And so that was the first 2 weeks when the symptoms were more intense. I haven't been taking anything since then. The symptoms come and go on a cycle. So it's like they're on a timed loop, and I just ride them out. So I don't take anything for any of that. They're very inconsistent, but very persistent. So sometimes I'll feel fine in between those, spells or whatever, except for my accelerated heart rate. I'm trying to rush, so I'm sorry for talking fast because this feels like it's taking a lot of time. And I'm hungry, finally. And now it's 4:37 p.m. and I haven't eaten yet today, but I finally got an appetite. So, but I'm losing light, as you can tell, so I wanted to hurry. So, to answer a few more questions, they did do blood work at my ER visit, and on that date, my EKG was normal, my blood pressure was normal and fine. I had no infection, no blood clots, no heart damage. My thyroid tested fine, kidneys, potassium, magnesium, electrolytes, vitamin D, all that stuff you guys keep bringing up, all on great levels. I will say I have had a very strong focus on health and nutrition all year, so I'm really glad I was in such good health when this hit me. So don't need all of that. And I want to warn you against like just taking advice or supplements or suggestions from the internet, because every single case of COVID or every single everything is unique to you and your experience. So you really want to treat your symptoms based on what you really need, or based on lab work, based on test results. Um, I do hope that answered everything. Like I said, I was trying to rush. I do feel a little overwhelmed and exhausted lately, and now very hungry is hitting me all of a sudden. And I'm not asking for answers. I just want to share the details. I want to answer your questions. I want to address some of the great things that you've recommended and some of the concerns. I'm doing everything that I can. But right now, I just feel like, like just staying in bed or crawling back in bed or just giving up or whatever. But you guys know I'm a fighter. So, uh, people keep bringing up POTS, POTS, but my heart rate will spike when I'm lounging on the couch. With Slim, we'll be watching a movie. Sometimes it even happens in my sleep. With POTS, I think it generally happens when you stand up, because it has to do with your, blood not circulating properly when you stand up or something. So I don't have that. It happens more randomly, not like that. I think it's more of an immune system problem. I've said that in a few posts and videos, that it feels like my immune system is stuck on a loop, like a on repeat, like a record that's skipping, right? The symptoms keep repeating in a timed cycle in the same sequence. So it's really, really odd. So like I said, it's like having 50 first dates with the flu. Every morning I wake up and it's the same sequence. So I have to kind of get through that sequence. And the first thing is full blown like head cold symptoms, like I'm snotting, I'm coughing, my ears hurt. And then the next thing is I'll have a phase where I have a sore throat and my pressure in my ears. And then I'll get the shakes and I get emotional. And then it's, it's like one thing after the other, but it's like this timed cycle every day. And then I tend to feel better in the evenings. So now we're losing light and it's getting dark, but I just wanted to update you really quick. And I also wanted to say thank you so much. And I hope that somehow, I don't want to scare anyone. This is just real life. We're in a pandemic. There's so much we don't know about COVID. So the purpose of my post is about awareness, and it's about connecting with other people who are going through this, because there's so much stigma right now. I just want you to know I am here with you. We are going to get through this. We are going to do it, and with the help of everyone. So if you don't yet have COVID, helping other people not get COVID, not getting COVID yourself, because from what I can tell, they are absolutely overwhelmed and unsure what to do. Even just asking a question at Walgreens today about antigen testing. I had to go pick up a prescription. I was at the drive-through, and she was trying to answer my question, but she answered it wrong, and which is fine. But she just said, "I'm sorry, they're throwing so much information at us at once. I can't keep up." And then I said, "I totally understand. I'll look it up." But that's the situation that we're in right now. This is not the time to be taking extra risks or to, if, and I know it sucks to miss things and traditions, and, I miss hugging people, and I wish I could, have a friend over, because I'm scared to be home alone by myself some nights when it's really bad and stuff. But this is the situation we're in. So it's more about awareness and connection and helping, let's all kind of help each other out in this the best that we can. I'm having my good hours right now. So I'm feeling, up, and I'm feeling really hungry. And so I'm going to go ahead and get something to eat and end this before it gets too long. But just wanted to say thank you and appreciate you being in this with me and being there for me through it all.